Tell you a little bit about the process and the inspiration behind not just Wonder, but also Little Sprout, who's sitting on your tables. My mom is right over here. Say hi, Susan.
Hi, Susan.
This is Susan. She's my mom, and she is also my partner in artistry, helping me with all sorts of stuff, even if it's just gluing things together, but also knitting and crocheting and all that kind of stuff. I've always grown up loving dolls. I actually grew up in Canada, and so my first probably love affair with dolls was American Girl, and we can't order them there. So we would get, for some reason, the catalog in the mail, and I would just drool over every single page. And on every page, I don't know if you did this when you were a kid, but I would say, like, what's my favorite thing on this page? And then I would pick it, and then I would do that on the next page, and then every month when I'd go through it, I'd see if it was still my favorite thing. So I was incredibly excited to find out about this amazing hobby that combines so many of the loves that I have for painting and for sewing and for sculpting, and they're just all combined in this amazing way. And I also love dolls, so it just worked out incredibly well. So let me take you back to a time in your life. I have this little story. Let me take you back. Close your eyes. Let me take you back to a time in your childhood where there were always crumbs in your bed from some kind of crackers, where bare feet was the norm, and outside time had no phones, and you always had scuffed knees and lemonade and watermelon and all the good stuff. The time in your life when wonder was the norm, and you imagined what you might be one day when you grew up. I hope you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yes.
Open your eyes, and what I want to do is first, before we start, I want to ask you a question. What did you want to be when you imagined yourself in that time in your life? I know for me, I wanted to be a dentist. And to tell you the truth, it's because I wanted to sculpt teeth. So look at that. I am now sculpting teeth. Dreams come true. What I want you to do is turn to your table members and just very briefly, I'd love for you guys to all share with each other what was like your number one dream job aspiration when you were a kid. Go for it.
I want to make movies. I want to be a movie maker.
It's much cooler than what I wanted to be, which was a teacher, because my mom was.
I didn't have real career aspirations. It was just I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And we'll come back.
As a kid.
With a very special childhood. Their parents enjoyed letting them run around barefoot, taking all of the trash out of the garbage can and making it into special new things. When they moved, they had a bunch of cardboard boxes, and instead of recycling them, Wonder and Sprout decided to make them into the most beautifully executed spaceship of all time. They played for hours and hours in the spaceship. They drew all sorts of buttons. They made all sorts of calls to Houston with problems. They didn't really know what they were. But at the end of the day, all they dreamed about was what it might be like to break past the barrier of Earth and reach their dreams of seeing the stars up close the way they imagined. They would make for themselves all sorts of costumes, UFO rings for their waists, or maybe even helmets out of boxes. Anything they could do to help support the dreams that they had of going to space. In fact, their collections became very alien-oriented. And when Wonder couldn't find her special pink alien, her sister often came into the game. She would make for her sister a colander hat. And for her, she was a UFO. Their room, always messy, was shared, and the best part about the room was that their mom got them glow-in-the-dark stars for the ceiling. The ceiling was always covered, and whenever the night sky was cloudy, they still had a starry night. They collected books and they enjoyed themselves, and as time went by and Sprout and Wonder grew older, their wonder and their dreams for the sky became something that looked a lot closer. And as the stars became to come into reach, Wonder decided that she would study space in college. She was able to get an incredible school to accept her, and she went and decided that this was going to be who she was, that one day she would really get to touch the stars. But as time went by, her senior year, Wonder found out that she was carrying something more than just a dream. It's gonna make me cry, and I wrote the story. Wonder found out that she was carrying a child, and she traded her textbooks for books about parenting, and she traded the stars for bottles of milk, and she traded everything she hoped for, graduating college and becoming an astronaut, instead for becoming a mother. Amen. She moved home to her mom and dad's house with her sweet, sweet baby, and everything changed. Years went by, and her sister Sprout moved on. She was able to graduate from college, and Wonder watched from the sidelines, staring up at the sky, wondering if there was regret in her heart. And as time passed, and her dreams slipped away, and the stars felt like they had moved past her reach, she held her baby in her arms, and she looked up and saw the stars twinkling in the night sky. And something within her told her that the stars that she had reached for and the wonder that she had seen in her dreams was now held in her arms.
Aww.
And she looked down at her sweet baby, and instead of seeing the stars in the sky, she saw the stars in his eyes.
Aww.
And that's the end.
Yay.
My mom and I, when we first found out the theme this year, we had actually already been planning a doll named Wonder, which was so crazy. And Wonder is so, so sweet to me. I'm in my childbearing years, and I've so enjoyed becoming a mom and recognizing just the beauty that's come with that. And I thought it would be a really sweet thing to get to share and to show you how that all relates in the inspiration that's in my heart as I sculpt. So I was gonna give you a little bit of the information about Sprout, just to give you sort of where Sprout came from and some of the detail work that my mother and I did. And then I'm gonna let you open up Wonder, and then we're gonna talk a little about Wonder. And I have to give you a tutorial as well, because we built some really cool props that are great that you can take on and off, but I wanna teach you how to do it. So Sprout, if you wanna look at your table centerpiece, Sprout was sculpted. This is actually my first cast I've done of Sprout. Sprout was sculpted based on my son, who's 4 years old. His name's Hezekiah. And I've always wanted to do like fashion dolls, and then I had a child, and I decided I had to do kids. And so Sprout has just got that sort of like beautifully satisfied but kind of complacent expression of just like happy to be herself. And I so enjoyed sculpting her. I loved that whole process. I'm so excited to share her. Her jammies are handmade by my mom and I, and they remind me of, my mom used to make us pajamas every Christmas, and she always made me jammies. I had a pair of cheetah onesie jammies that I wore way too long. But my whole family, we were always in onesie jammies, so I knew that if I had a little Sprout running around, you know, ready for bed, but unwilling to let go of her game of playing space, that she had to be in a onesie. And the colander hat, I 3D printed that myself because I couldn't quite find a colander that was a miniature that was the right size to really sell it on the size of head she had. So that was 3D printed, and we made that one of ourselves. Obviously it has a piece of elastic, but you can of course just take that off if you want to and let it be free. And then lastly, of course, is her little UFO ring. And that's based on the idea, actually from the inspiration from the story. My siblings and I, my sister's a mechanical engineer. I don't know how we're related, but she's a mechanical engineer, and so whenever we would have cardboard boxes, we would make spaceships every time, or some kind of fort. In fact, 2-story forts out of cardboard boxes.
Wow.
She's a genius. I did not take part in how to make that 2 stories. So I wanted to do some kind of prop for both of the girls that represented what we did when we were kids. And so we would take cardboard boxes and we would make these, I'm sure they were hideous, but in the moment, they were elaborate spaceships. They were elaborate. And I thought, like, this thing could really take us to the moon. And my little brother and I, who really Wonder and Sprout are based off of, we would just run around and play for, Mom, ages and ages, enjoying ourselves and just truly believing that we were going to take off. We'd use sound effects, the whole thing. So Sprout and Wonder, their relationship is inspired by that. And I love getting to represent that artistically. Okay, so now, I know it's a little bit early, but I would love to be able to pass out the wonders so that we can look at them and I can talk you through sort of the artistic inspiration and how we went about the process of creating wonder, if we want to make that happen.
Okay, very sadly, my audio in this video did not work. Thanks to Julie Rydell, who gave me her videos, and I stripped the audio from hers. You can kind of tell in some places that the audio is not aligned. So we don't get to talk about Brea talking about the doll, but I'm going to kind of talk you through this unboxing as an afterthought. This was the gorgeous boxes that the dolls came in. This is Wonder's box, and they've got the iridescent stars on them, and just the box itself was such a treat to look at there in the room, like just being really excited to open the dolls. And she's kind of talking through this. They made everything from the doll from start to finish. I think we're waiting here for the dolls to be distributed, but they made everything from start to finish. She even made the eyes for these dolls, which you're going to see in a minute is really cool. This is one of my favorite dolls that I got from Modern Doll this year. She's just so cool. So you can see my face there. So she is precious. First of all, she has teeth. There's her certificate. So we're going to pull that out to the side. And you can see she's got, kind of like she was talking about, they created things with cardboard. She's got some things, some accessories that are meant to look like they were created by children with cardboard and had children's drawings on them and stuff. And I think that's really cool. And so there's I'm not sure, I can't remember what I'm pulling out here, but there's a set of wings. And there is, I'm pulling the doll out here. She's wearing her like star covered jammies, and her little slippers, which her and her mom made. So you can see like the star. Well, you can't see it because Allison from the Pat. There we go. Look at her eyes. She's got little stars in her eyes, like literal stars. And that's what I was saying. She made the eyes for these. And I love the little space bun wigs that they chose, or that she chose. I think they're so cool. I love the sculpt of this doll. I love the size of this doll. She's like a good size in your hands. Feels really good. The joints are really nice. She's a really well balanced doll, and she's not super tiny. She's like hefty enough to have fun with and enjoy, and so I really like that about her. And there's Billy telling me something, who knows what. Oh, I think she was telling me how many extras we had, which was none. They sold it. I think we might have had one extra to sell, and it sold. So anyway, because the doll was so cute. Once you heard the story, and if you saw your neighbor opening one of these and you didn't have one, you definitely needed one. So I just love the little iridescent stars in her eyes and how cute she is. And her teeth, of course, I love the dolls with teeth. But just the freckling on her face, I really hate that I missed the artist's explanation of this doll. But you can look at her, her top even has little star adornments there as buttons, which I think are super cute. So this is the Wonder sculpt, and she had some of them in the sales room as well, and I really love her. I think she's just precious. I didn't go for the centerpiece doll because she was a tiny, so she's a lot smaller than this doll, but this doll size, I don't know how big she is, maybe 10 inches, maybe a little smaller, I don't know, but the size is great, like big enough to not be too small. There's her little slippers that they made, and the bottoms look like leather, like upcycled leather. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's what it looks like. And so they made those little house shoes, house slippers for the doll. So they made the eyes, they made the outfits, and they made the shoes as well, which I think is really cool. And she had said that making eyes was kind of a new venture for them, but she wanted eyes with stars in them because that's part of Wonder's story. And then you can see the accessories here that were made to look like a child had created them out of cardboard. So you can see there, you know, there's magnets too. So it closes with magnets, which I think is really ingenious. And then I was really excited about this. I think it's the wings. You've got the wings, and they've got like soda bottles on the bottom. So you can see like everything looks like it's been upcycled from a kid to create, you know, these kind of rocket wings. That's what I need, rocket wings. And so she was kind of explaining that you could kind of put it on either side. Like you could put the soda bottles to the front if you were taking photographs and you wanted them to show, like the rockets to show in the front, or you could put them in the back. And they even cut holes in the like the space helmet for the little space buns, which I think is really sweet. I bought her an extra outfit actually in the sales room from Bria, so I would have one. But look at that. Isn't she so cute? And I love the way, and they drew all this stuff so each one of these is like handmade, I think by her and her mom, and just really such a cool story, such a touching story, such a really good story. And the doll is absolutely incredible as well. I'm really, really pleased with her. I think she's just fantastic. So you can see here I'm putting the wings on her. There's some little elastic straps there, so you can see how that looks from the front with if you put the rockets, quote unquote, facing the front, so you can kind of get the whole look. Or like if you wanted to photograph it and you want the rockets on the front, that's the way you do it. This is kind of hard to go back and do after the fact, like talking about it after I've already opened it. You can see I wasn't talking the whole time here, though. The artist was talking, and I really hate that I missed that audio because it was good. She's such an incredible storyteller. But I'm grateful to Julie for giving me the audio that we were able to get. But yeah, you can see kind of how that looks there if you were going to do photographs and have a little photo shoot with her, how precious that is. And you can just imagine a kid like playing with all these things and dreaming of going to the stars. So there she is. Precious. Absolutely precious. And like I said, there were none of these left available. Every one of them sold out. So, and you can see why. They're absolutely incredible. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons from Patreon: Lindsay S., Leah W., Doreen Z., Janice H., Mercedes W., Bear Sunflower, Shorna R., Stephanie W., Shalane C., Louisa's Knickknacks, Marty G., Lynn P., Cindy L., Sabrina A., Kitten Cat, Diane B., and Debbie N. Thank you so much for your support. Your support helps me continue bringing you great dolly content. For more information on how you can become a supporter of this channel, please see the description in the video below. Thank you.